We're going to have a fantastic discussion about Groundwork Dallas, the wonderful work they do, and different trails that you can visit right now during this beautiful weather to get some outdoor enjoyment. So I'm going to open with a quick presentation about Dallas Environmental Quality and Sustainability, which is the department I work for. We are working in partnership with the Dallas Public Library on this series called Earth Day Every Day. And this is every Thursday at noon. And we have lots of neat programs, and I'll be sharing some more information about our programming in the chat. But I also just wanted to briefly explain a little bit about my department because you've probably never heard of it. That's because we were formed back in 2004, and we were called the Office of Environmental Quality. And we worked really hard for 4 years to help Dallas become the first city in the United States to achieve ISO 14001. And what that is, it's a way for you to look at all the processes you use to supply your service and do those with less of an environmental impact. So what we did is we looked across 14 departments in the city to see how we could still deliver service to all of our residents by not harming the environment. So we looked at the fleet vehicles we use to the paper we put in our copy machine, made some big changes, and we were the first city in the United States to achieve this. So think about that. This is Dallas, Texas. It was not a city in California. It was not a city in Colorado. It was not Austin. It was Dallas that achieved this. So Dallas is green, and we're just going greener. So let's fast forward to 10 years to 2018, and then you can see a lot of stuff happened in my department. There was a restructuring in the city, and we actually absorbed some other environmental groups, and we doubled in size. And to reflect that change, we changed our name to Dallas Environmental Quality and Sustainability. When we did that reorganization, we created a combined outreach and engagement team that I'm a proud member of. And the following year in 2019, Mayor Johnson created an Environment and Sustainability Committee of Dallas City Council. I believe this committee meets the first Monday of every month, and those meetings are open, and you can watch them online. And it's a great way to see the environmental work that the city is doing. Now, if you have heard of our department, it's probably because on May 27th of this year, the City Council adopted the first comprehensive environmental and climate action plan called CCAT. Now, it is historic, plus we're one of the few inland cities that has a climate plan. And we're actually one of the few cities in Texas that has actually formally adopted a climate plan. You can see all 250 pages of the plan at dallasclimateaction.com. And it is our roadmap for the next 30 years of how we're going to improve the environment for everyone in Dallas. And even things like today's presentation aligns with the CCAP. There is a part about green spaces and open spaces. I mentioned that our department doubled in size, and you can see what's listed in green are the groups that we absorbed a couple of years ago. I want to talk about one of those just briefly, and that is stormwater. So stormwater is anytime rain or water leaves your property. So it can be even from your lawn sprinkler systems. That water flows over your grass, over your driveway, down the street, goes all the way down to those gutters at the end of the street, and it goes into that big drain. Well, that big drain is called a storm drain inlet, and it's there for one reason, and it's to remove the water off the street so we don't have flooding. Well, we have about 70,000 of these drains across the city, and they work really well. They work so well at removing that water quickly that that water goes directly into a creek or stream. It's not clean and it's not treated. So if it picks up any pollution along the way, that pollution unfortunately connects into our lakes and in the Trinity River. So if it picks up litter, if it picks up bacteria from pet waste, if it picks up any sort of fertilizers or pesticides that was left on your lawn, or even motor oil that was on the driveway from a leaking car. That's how those things that's how pollution gets into our water. So just be careful about what's going outside. And remember, pollution at home doesn't always stay at home. So I mentioned the outreach and engagement team that I'm on. We want to empower Dallas to save the earth. And we do that by presentations like this, virtually and in person when we're allowed. You can actually invite us to give free presentations to different groups in Dallas, like your HOA or different clubs. We also have materials for students all the way from K to college. And we even host some of our own events. And this Saturday is going to be a fantastic event. It is the 26th Waterwise Landscape Tour. It's going to be all virtual this year. And we have a program from 10:30 a.m., 10:30 it starts, all the way to 1 p.m. It's going to be full of speakers, video tours, some of our past winners. We actually have a landscape competition, and we're going to announce the new winners. And so it's going to be full of inspiration. And all you have to do is visit savedallaswater.com to get more details for that. You can see the agenda and you can register. And everybody is welcome, regardless of where you live. You are welcome to attend our seminar. Now, if you invite us to speak at for your clubs or organizations, we can talk about environmental topics from A to Z, including stormwater that I mentioned before and water conservation. So visit our website, greendallas.net. On the homepage, you will see an event request form. Fill that out, and that's how you can invite us. Also, if you ever have any questions for me or anybody I work with, just send an email to greendallas@dallascityhall.com. And as a matter of fact, to thank you for being a part of our presentation today, if you do send an email to greendallas@dallascityhall.com, you will get a free thank you gift mailed to you. So remember to include your name and your mailing address so we can get that to you. And of course, take out your phones and follow us on social media. We are Green Dallas TX on Facebook and at Green Dallas on Twitter and Instagram. Follow us to find out about great programs like today's and also ones in the future. And with that, I am super excited to introduce Adam from Groundwork Dallas. We go way back, and I'm so excited that he's here with us today. And he is actually a natural resources manager and environmental educator by trade. He has a degree in geography and environmental studies with a focus on ecological restoration and a minor in sustainable development from the University of Colorado. He's also worked with the U.S. Forest Service, the Department of the Interior, the Department of Defense, as well as the City of Dallas and other municipalities. Currently, he is the Director of Youth Programming and Environmental Education for Groundwork Dallas, and he has a passion for harmonious coexistence with the natural environment and feels strongly that education empowers that connectivity. So Adam, thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate the invitation to take this opportunity to talk to you guys. So I specifically want to say thank you to you and Judy as well from the City of Dallas. And in addition to all the fantastic people at the Dallas Public Library who are helping to facilitate this and getting me caught up to speed on how to do these Zoom meetings. You'd think I had enough time by now, but apparently not. So I hope that everybody can hear me. I can't see anybody else's faces, but I don't know what to do about that. I'll just pretend you're all smiling and listening and paying attention. So it's great to be here. Again, thank you so much. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Groundwork Dallas and the work that we do. Hopefully you've at least heard of us because we have been around for 15 years now. Groundwork Dallas was established in 2005, and we are a nonprofit organization that is part of 22 trusts throughout the United States, the umbrella of Groundwork USA. And there's also chapters overseas as well. So we are an international organization. Our staff here at Groundwork Dallas is a fairly small full-time staff. So we rely very heavily on partnerships, volunteers, and our work programs. But we really truly believe in what we're doing. And that's why our motto is changing places and changing lives. So hang on one second, let me try to adjust my, there we go. So those two things are separate and yet they are complementary, because what we do is we actually go into these places, these undeveloped areas, and we change them. We change them in a positive way to allow access to people to get out and enjoy nature. And by employing youth and young adults and incorporating them into our work, we're changing their lives. But they're also interchangeable, because by changing those places, you're changing the lives of the people who live in those communities and in those neighborhoods and throughout the city of Dallas. And that changes their lives and hopefully inspires them to get out there and participate in changing places as well. So We're very proud of the Changing Places, Changing Lives motto that Groundwork Dallas and the rest of our 22 trusts throughout the United States have. So what do we do here at Groundwork Dallas? Well, our mission is to regenerate, sustain, and improve Dallas's green spaces and the access to them for citizens and visitors alike to enjoy the outdoor recreational opportunities that Dallas has to offer. And there's a lot of people in the city of Dallas who don't know that these opportunities exist, who don't realize that these natural areas are abundant throughout the city of Dallas. And we're trying to change that. So we perform construction and improvement of soft surface trails. We develop and improve recreational areas and habitat areas, whether that be construction of pollinator gardens or wildlife viewing platforms. We also construct and install green space amenities such as benches, tables, trail signs. So what we're trying to do is allow these places to become inviting to people to want to go out and recreate. And there's no better time right now during COVID when everybody's cooped up, they're tired of being at home. Being outdoors and in nature is something that you can naturally space out and get that social distancing, but you're out there communing with nature, you're breathing in fresh air, you're getting exercise, you're being exposed to things that you're just not exposed to in your home or your apartment. So we really focus on habitat improvement and beautification projects. Now, the areas that we work are all throughout the greater Dallas Metroplex. We focus on the Great Trinity Forest. There is nearly 6,000 acres of Great Trinity Forest here within the city of Dallas limits. And it goes far beyond that. It goes beyond the city of Dallas and down all along the Trinity River as it heads south on its way to the coast. So 6,000 acres, we have a real gem here. And again, a lot of people don't realize that is out there for them. We also focus on the entire Trinity River corridor, as well as the Dallas Elm Fork Greenbelt, which we have a lot of projects going on. So how we achieve this is that Groundwork Dallas develops community-based partnerships that are geared to educate and empower people, businesses, and organizations to promote environmental stewardship. We engage youth and young adults from historically marginalized communities throughout Dallas in order to provide supplemental income for them, to promote civic responsibility, enhance their skills training, provide mentorship and role modeling for future success, because they are going to be the torchbearers for us. And we want to get them engaged early and get them excited about this type of work that we do. So why do we do it? Well, for many obvious reasons, but the baseline of it is that we truly believe that everyone deserves a green, healthy, and resilient environment in which to live. So by ensuring equitable access and connection to nature, we help to create communities that are healthier, they're happier, they're more fulfilled, and to inspire youth to become the next generation of environmental champions. So that is kind of a brief overview of Groundwork Dallas. I'm going to ask Jordan to queue up a video that will discuss a little bit more, illustrate a little bit more for you, the things that I've just touched on. And then I'll go a little bit more into detail about the projects that we're working on and what we're offering and how we're out there trying to help the citizens of Dallas to get more connected. So Jordan, if you want to go ahead and queue up that first video for me, please.
Education, training, leadership. Groundwork Dallas is an environmental nonprofit that empowers and prepares youth to become lifelong stewards of our planet, while collaboratively developing national park quality recreation areas in the Trinity River corridor. Critical components of this mission are the programs in the Groundwork Dallas Conservation Corps. They provide teens from predominantly underserved and economically disadvantaged neighborhoods with access they've been lacking to environmental education and job skills training in environmental fields.
The Conservation Corps fills these gaps in life-changing ways, with paid training for high school seniors looking to enter the workforce, summer employment opportunities with an environmental focus, and year-round engagement in recreation, service, and education. By expanding our programs through innovative partnerships, we look to further prepare teens for college degrees and careers that will improve public green spaces, address environmental issues in economically disadvantaged areas, and help develop the next generation of environmental leaders. We are Groundwork Dallas. Together, we're changing places, changing lives.
All right, thank you, Jordan. So as you can see, we're out there. We are boots on the ground organization. We're out there making these changes. We're inspiring youth and young adults, and we've been very successful so far at all of that. We have a lot of different tracks that we currently have operational. We have a number of programs. Our base program is our Groundwork Dallas Green Team, and that allows us to offer hands-on learning and service opportunities for youth and young adults ages 14 to 25. And what we offer through these programs, or through the Green Team program, is environmental enhancement projects. We do conservation trips, camping trips. We do career building, leadership skills training, volunteerism, outdoor recreation opportunities, such as mountain biking, rock climbing, canoeing, fishing. But what we really try to impress mostly upon is being in concert with the school district STEM programs and the sciences and all natural sciences. So we even engage in co-ops with various schools. This past summer, we had a Pinkston co-op with Pinkston High School, in which we work with the school and try to take some of these programs directly to the schools. So building and constructing and installing rain gardens. And as you saw in the video clip, the community gardens for their schools. We also have our Youth Conservation Corps, and this is a really exciting paid summer youth employment program. And this is available to young adults from age 14 to 18. And what we do with the Youth Conservation Corps is we engage in environmental restoration projects, job skill training, adult workforce preparation. We have internship opportunities, community engagement, environmental justice, social activism, environmental education. It goes on and on. We don't try to keep ourselves too much in a box because there's just too much out there to do. And also we promote volunteerism. So we just recently started back up with our Saturday cleanups. So every Saturday from 9 to noon, we offer different Saturday volunteer opportunities, and not just cleanups. Obviously, that is a very important part, but other service projects as well, whether it's going to other nature centers in the Metroplex and helping them out with some of their projects, or whether it's going on field trips. Last Saturday, I took a group of my Green Team students and we went out to the John Bunker Sands Wetland Center, and it was fantastic. We had an opportunity to do some great birding. The cormorants are migrating right now, so there was lots of wildlife to observe and learn about. So we've managed to stay pretty busy even through COVID. And as a matter of fact, we are in the process of expanding our programs into 2021. So coming online soon, by this summer, we'll have some new crews. that we're going to implement. The first one is our canopy crew, and they're going to be doing various projects throughout Dallas. They're going to focus on habitat improvement and maintenance, building healthy, resilient communities, improving community parks and green spaces, advocating for climate-safe neighborhoods, solving food insecurities, and transforming brownfields from once unusable spaces to low-impact recreational spaces. We're also going to start our Trinity River crew, and very excited about that. That is going to be a joint partnership with the Trinity River Conservancy, and they do amazing work. I've had the privilege of getting to work closely with them for about the last 6 years. Fantastic organization. And so we entered into this along with the generous support of Texan by Nature. And if you're not familiar with that program, it was founded by Laura Bush. And we were selected as 2020, one of 2020's Conservation Wrangler champions through Texan by Nature. So it's a great collaboration, fantastic partnership, and we'll be focusing primarily on the Trinity River corridor through that Trinity River crew. And what that's going to look like is creating access to recreation along the river. We'll be doing water quality testing, wetland restoration. We'll be developing riparian habitats. We're still trying to develop exactly what all of that's going to look like, but we've got some fantastic ideas, some good support, and I think that's going to be a very successful program. And then the third one that we are hoping to get started this summer is our city crew. And that's actually going to be a joint partnership with the City of Dallas Code Compliance. And what we're going to be doing is working with Code Compliance to go in and do vacant lot beautification, litter abatement, reduction of code violations, and fine resolutions, and job trainings. So we're going to be going in, and folks that haven't had the means to upkeep their property, we'll go in and we'll mow the grass, we'll repair their fences, we'll paint, we'll remove debris, whatever it needs to be done, because again, everybody deserves to live in an environment that's clean and healthy and appealing. So, and the great thing about that is that we will be hiring youth from those areas so that they have a sense of ownership in this. So that when we're out in, say, the Joppy neighborhood or the Bonton neighborhood, and the youth and the young adults that we hire from those neighborhoods have a vested interest now. So they're going to be stewards. They're, when they see somebody out there throwing their trash on the ground, they can say, hey, I just spent the last week getting this looking beautiful. Let's all work together to keep it that way. Along with that, we offer conservation trips, both small and large. Big Bend Ranch State Park is one that we've worked in for a number of years. And with that project, we usually go down on the winter break for school and also the spring break. And we spend about a week out at Big Bend Ranch. We work with the Texas Park and Wildlife Division on improving their campground and visitor amenities, doing repairs, and constructing new trail systems. Next week, we have some folks from Groundwork Dallas going out to Tuskegee, and they will be working at the Tuskegee Airmen National Historic Site, doing restoration of the airfield and some of the other amenities down there. And I was lucky enough to have recently gotten back from a 10-day trip to Glacier National Park, where I took 12 of our Green Team youth from our summer program. And we spent 10 days in Glacier National Park working with the National Park Service on deferred maintenance projects. So getting them caught up on things that they don't have the manpower or the budget to address. So it was fantastic. It was a pretty life-changing experience for a lot of our youth. They had, a lot of them had never left Dallas. Some of them had never been on an airplane before. Some of them had never seen a mountain before, never slept in a tent before. So it was just to see how profound of an impact that it had on these young people and how inspiring it was a great thing to be a part of. So we work with a lot of different organizations in order to engage and employ these youth and young adults. We work closely with schools, middle schools and high schools. That has been a bit of a challenge because of COVID. We don't really have access to go into the schools and talk about our programs and get people signed up and recruit. So we've had to get a little creative with that, but we've still been very successful. We work with local community centers, neighborhood associations, and a lot of other organizations, primarily other nonprofits, in order to impact lives. So we work with the Trinity River Mission, the Incarnation House, the International Rescue Committee, the Trinity River Mission and Incarnation House. They offer programs for at youth risk throughout Dallas and educational opportunities. So we partner with them to make sure that they're getting a good dose of environmental education and opportunities. The International Rescue Committee works with refugees who are escaping horrific life experiences and war, and they come over here and they offer them a path to becoming settled into these communities and to feel at home and become a vibrant part of those. And we've had a great turnout and really great engagement with those youth and even the DISD homeless education programs. We also have to partner with a lot of other organizations in order to offer this program. And we have built some really, really strong relationships. Just to run through some of them, Texas Park and Wildlife, they offer a program that we are a big part of called Texas Outdoor Family. And that's to encourage people to get out into the state parks and experience nature. And we teach them how to mountain bike and fish and canoe and set up a camp. We teach them about the leave no trace principles. We work closely with the Texas Trees Foundation. And we go out, we have our youth go out and we do tree ID and mapping. We do data collection on emerald ash borers. We help them construct their cool schools is one of their new programs, creating experiential outdoor learning spaces at schools, as well as planting trees to provide that kind of holistic environment. Of course, the city of Dallas, we partner, I've already discussed some of those with various departments, Trust for Public Lands, the Nature Conservancy, Dallas Parks Foundation, the National Park Service, of course, our great partners, Trinity Park Conservancy, EarthX. I could go on and on, but I won't, but you get the idea. So we're kind of talking about trails today. So we do a lot with trails. That was kind of one of the cornerstones of Groundwork Dallas, in that we offer and host an annual trail building school. It's a weekend-long experiential and classroom education opportunity that's out at Lake Bridgeport. And we develop skills to create and maintain hiking trails, mountain biking trails, equestrian trails. And there's a lot of areas that we have worked on trails. Now, we don't do the paved trails, the hard surface. We focus on the soft surface trails in the more forested natural areas. So we have been involved with trail construction and maintenance out at Hines Park, the Fraser Dam Recreation Area, Keast Park in South Dallas. We're going to be starting up a lot of work at LB Houston Park. We have done work at Bachman Lake, the Texas Horse Park, and the Trinity River Audubon Center. So we've got our hands in a lot of different projects that span all across Dallas. So I've got one more video to show. That's about all the talking points that I have right now. I do have one more video to show. And after that, let's just open it up for free flow dialogue and Q&A. So Jordan, if you want to go ahead and cue up that second video, please.
Hi, I'm Megan Davis. I am the Development and Outreach Coordinator here at Groundwork Dallas, and we are here today at lovely Hines Park. Today is our grand reopening of the park. This is a project that we've been working on for about 5 years now. And when we first got involved with this park through our connection with the city of Dallas, there was a lot of litter, a lot of trash. There wasn't a lot here other than a couple of picnic tables. And so we worked really closely with the city and said, how can we help make this an area that community members can come and enjoy, local businesses can come out to. And so we've been working with volunteers over the last few years to really remove all of that litter and debris. We've added a 3/4 mile walking trail that goes around the pond here. We've created a wildlife viewing platform so that people can do bird watching and see a lot of the migratory birds that come through here. So it's been a really huge transformation.
Hello, my name is Garrett Boone. I'm a Groundwork board member. Our family foundation is a funder of Groundwork, and I'm the retired co-founder of the Container Store. So I began an interest in this park, and over several years I've developed a relationship with Groundwork Dallas because they had the ability to organize volunteers and do work. And we began to clean up the park. The park initially was covered in trash. The lake had not a single square inch of water, did not have floatable trash or micro trash in it. So over a period of about 4 years, Groundwork volunteers, a large number of business volunteers and kids from high school have cleaned up the grounds, have cleaned up the lake to the point where I proudly say it may be the cleanest lake or park lake in Dallas. This 15 acres is an amazing repository of nature. Groundwork has created trails around the park in a way that is minimally intrusive to the wildlife there. So you can see the wildlife but be screened from direct confrontation.
All right, so thank you very much. Yeah, that was one example of a project that has been rather long-term. As you heard, Groundwork Dallas has been restoring that natural area, that park area for 5 years now, and we continue to. It's always an ongoing, especially when it comes to the trash. So again, a lot of times our Saturdays volunteer events are going out to Hines Park, which was just featured, and Fraser Dam Recreation Area and other places, because they're always going to be a repository for trash, especially after we have flooding events, overbanking events, and all of that trash, the plastic bottles, the single-use bottles, they all float up, they migrate with the rising waters, the water recedes, and it leaves them in those areas. And unfortunately, that is not only detrimental to the wildlife who depend upon those areas, but it just doesn't make it very inviting for people to want to go out and recreate when they're surrounded with trash. So it's something that's important, and it's unfortunately, until we can change personal habits throughout the city, it's always going to have a necessary place. So but anyway, I that's about all I have as far as specifics. Helen, is there anything else you'd like me to discuss, or do we have anyone else that has questions?
Absolutely. And Adam, thank you for your sentiment there at the end, because that's, I think we're all fighting the same fight, and we all want a high quality of life for everybody in Dallas. And one way to get there is by taking care of our outdoor spaces so that we can enjoy them and have them there for all of the mental and environmental benefits that they provide for us. So I personally want to thank you for all the hard work you've done. And also we had one of our comments was thank you for the amazing work that y'all are doing to enhance the green spaces in Dallas. So I know if you ever, you're out there one day and it's whether it's blazing hot or freezing cold and you're wondering what the heck you're doing it for all of us.
That's right. And again, another shameless plug. If anybody ever wants to come out and help us out with these projects, again, every Saturday from 9 to 12. And we send out e-blasts, and we're on Meetup. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We'd love to have you out there. So anybody is welcome at any time.
All right, so that leads into one of our questions, which is fantastic. So you listed a multitude of different programs, and you also mentioned like these Saturday cleanups. Can you kind of give us an idea of like which ones are, like for example, there might be some college kids that are coming home early, you are coming home for winter break, right? And they're going to be here for a few months. What are programs that you can like jump into that maybe don't require a long-term commitment or training or anything like that, versus those programs where there's kind of like an enrollment?
At this point, I would say our Saturday cleanups. We have a lot more programming available in the summer when kids are off, but right now we understand that Monday through Friday, most people are either in school, at work, all of those various things. So I would say our Saturday cleanups, and again, you can follow us on Facebook or any of the social media platforms. Check into the Meetup apps, and we always put out those announcements. So the great thing about this, and I really was not sure when we started back up with our Saturday volunteer events, how that was really going to go, if it was going to take off, if people were still going to be a little bit COVID weary to get involved with those programs. But it's been amazing because apparently we are one of the few organizations who are offering an opportunity to do these kinds of volunteers. And, a lot of people come out because they have volunteer service hour requirements for graduation. But really it's a lot because people just want to get out again. They want to be outside, they want to engage. And the areas that we work in, it's so easy to do because there is that social distancing component already cued into it. We require masks. We don't let anybody in groups of more than 10. So we separate the groups out into different areas and then spread them out further within those groups. So everything is very safe. It's run extremely well. We have a lot actually of UTD students that come out on a regular basis on Saturdays and help us out, as well as high school kids. So good question. And yes, I would say to check into our Saturday volunteer opportunities. And, we try to change it up and not just go to the same place and do the same thing week after week. But there are definite target areas that require more attention than others.
I understand. And so just to let everybody know, in the chat, I did put in some of the information for Groundwork. For their website is groundworkdallas.org. And they do have Meetup. So if you just search, if you go to Meetup, you can actually just search Groundwork Dallas. The URL is actually just a touch long. And then also they have a Instagram page. So it is Groundwork Dallas, all one word, on Instagram. So there's several different ways you can find out about how you can help while enjoying the great outdoors at the same time. So you might have covered this earlier, but how long has Groundwork Dallas been operating?
We have been operating for 15 years now. So this chapter, Groundwork Dallas chapter, was started in 2005. So we've been around for a while. And so I think that we have a pretty good name recognition. Just a little background for you guys. I actually came from the city of Dallas, where I was natural resource manager for, at the time it was Trinity Watershed Management. And through that, I had the opportunity to become familiar with Groundwork Dallas and work alongside them because our missions and our focus and our passions were so closely aligned. So I had an opportunity to come and work for them full time, and it's been amazing. It was a very interesting start to my new career here with Groundwork Dallas, because I started in mid-February, just before COVID hit, and came in not really knowing what I was doing. The person before me had already left, so I was trying to figure things out, and then suddenly we were at home being quarantined for a month, and so it's been a very steep learning curve, but it's fun. I get to do the things that I love, which are my passion for the environment, but also my passion for educating people. So getting to work with youth and young adults that are inspired, and you can see when that light clicks, and they say, "Oh, I get it." And I always interweave education into anything that I do, any interaction. So if I'm working with one of our summer paid crews, while we're out there doing the work, I'm explaining to them why we're doing the work, the impact that it has, the importance, how it goes beyond just them or just that one community that we're in. And it's very rewarding to see that engagement being returned, and the questions, and, "Oh, tell me more about this," and, "Well, what about this?" And, how can I get into this career field? When I go to college, what kinds of courses do I need to take? So it makes me very hopeful for our future.
That's fantastic. Okay, so now we have several questions about trails. So, do you know of any good trails up in the north part of North Texas, such as Wiley, Lavon, Farmersville, Rockwall, or any plans for trails in those areas?
Oh, that's a great question. I know a lot of people live in those areas and commute down here for work. Unfortunately, that's not really in our footprint right now. Of course, we're always expanding. But right offhand, I do not know. I would say probably go on to the city or county websites for those areas, and they likely will have some kind of link to their trails or outdoor recreation opportunities, much like the website for the park service here, Park and Rec. They've got a great website that has maps that tells you where the trails are, where the recreational outdoor activities and opportunities are. So I would say probably look into those individual websites for those counties. But yes, definitely find out, go and explore them, get out there and enjoy them if they have them to offer. And if they don't, you call me and I'll see what I can do about getting some of those installed.
All right, Adam. So what are some of your favorite trails?
Oh, wow. I have a lot of favorite trails. So if you're looking for hard surface trails, such as to bike, the AT&T Trail is a great opportunity, as well as the Trinity Forest Trail. There's a trailhead for both of those, just outside of the Trinity River Audubon Center, and that is a little bit more towards South Dallas. It's off of South Loop 12, Great Trinity Forest Parkway. If you're looking for more of a natural trail, gosh, I would say Keast Park has some really good trails out there. We'll be doing some wonderful trail maintenance and expansion out at LB Houston Park, which is down by California Crossing. it depends on if you're more rugged or if you like to stay in town a little bit. Like Bachman Lake has some great trails around Bachman Lake, and there's wonderful wildlife, waterfowl, migratory birds, a lot to look at. But yeah, I moved here from Colorado, so the deeper into the natural and forested areas are the ones that I definitely prefer.
All right. Do you happen to be familiar with maybe like trail races and like different parks where maybe they might hold trail races or would be good for training for trail races?
Are you talking about foot races or mountain bike?
Foot. Let's start with foot.
Okay. I think my director, Rick Buckley, would be the one to contact, and I can get that information. But Rick actually participates in and hosts mountain bike races and trail races. So I could get some information and we could put that out, but he would definitely be the one to talk to about that.
All right, that sounds good. So we also had a couple of more thank yous for you personally. They might actually be people you might know, and those are in the chat. And okay, so you mentioned that some of your programs actually are able to pay young people for their work and
Yes.
like training and different things like that. Can you talk a little bit about how you get your funding?
Yes, so Megan Davis, who was in the 2 videos, she is our outreach manager, and she has done an amazing job with going out there and finding grants, partnership efforts. We're part of the Trash Free Waters program. And so, being a nonprofit, and to be honest, this is my first time in the nonprofit world. And it is a challenge to come up with the money for these programs. But thankfully, we have someone like Megan who has been doing it for a number of years. And there's a lot of grant opportunities out there. It's just meeting the criteria and figuring out if it's an appropriate fit. But yeah, definitely what we have to do is go out there and not only grants, both state and federal, but it's asking for donations from corporations, from individuals, because again, without outside funding, none of this would be possible. And paying these kids over the summer $10 an hour, that makes all the difference in the world, especially if they're from households that are struggling financially. And that $10 an hour is a lot of times going towards helping put food on the table for their family, help keeping the lights on. So thankfully, we have been able to stay above board, and we've actually done well enough, like I said, to kind of expand going into 2021, which, I'm hoping that there's that synergy built in, that the more programs we offer, the more people realize what good things we're doing, the more people that and corporations and partnerships want to come together and make sure that these things continue into the future.
Absolutely. All right. And so talking about all the work you do with youth, not only are you working with youth who are old enough to, work on trails and be involved in these restoration projects and conservation projects, you actually are going to be on our episode of Earth Kids this afternoon, aren't you?
I am. I'm very excited.
And so Earth Kids is an online virtual program hosted by Dallas Environmental Quality and Sustainability and the Dallas Public Children's Library. And we bring in different guests that often kind of reflect these little bit more adult programs. So Adam, what are you going to be talking to our youth about today at 4:00?
Well, that is a good question. I'm going to be talking about the waterways in Texas, the importance to the wildlife, to the flora as well as the fauna. And I've got some little show and tell things, but really when it comes to kids in particular, I've found that I work best when I'm just kind of winging it and free flowing and asking questions and going off of what they have an interest in. But it's going to be primarily centered around the importance of our waterways to the wildlife here and what it takes to keep those ecosystems healthy so that we can maintain that level of biodiversity out there in nature. And again, I'm gonna obviously try to, encourage them to become more involved, even just beyond watching, a webinar, but to encourage their parents to say, hey, let's go walk through this park that's down the street today, and let's go see how many different kinds of birds that we can find, and count the squirrels running up and down the trees, and just get that level of excitement so that they want to go out and engage and make this something that can be part of their lives.
Oh, awesome. I think I'm going to try to tune into that, because also these programs are geared for our environmental heroes K through 12, but of course adults are welcome to join in too. And this sounds like a great continuation of this program to be able to narrow down our focus a little bit into those waterways and find out how to make our animals thrive and happy in those spaces.
Absolutely.
So we got a question is, what are some of your favorite identification apps that you like to use when you're out on the trails?
I primarily use iNaturalist. It's I'd say it's the most popular app out there. And that's lowercase I and then Naturalist. It's very easy to use, very user friendly. They've made a lot of upgrades to where you can take a photograph of a particular flower or insect or butterfly, and it will automatically identify it for you or give you suggestions of what they think it is. And then you've got other environmental specialists that can chime in and say, oh, that's the Gulf fritillary butterfly. That's, that's a snowy egret. That's a maple tree. So it's a great tool. It's really easy. You can create projects on there. So if you want to do a community project and have everybody in your community or your school, then they can all upload those photographs onto your project site. So it's a great educational tool. It's very easy to use. And it's got such a wide following that you've got all these wonderful, amazing citizen scientists out there that follow along, and they'll help people and say, oh yeah, that's such and such, and here's what you need to do about it. Or, that's non-venomous, so, you're not in any danger. And so I like the iNaturalist app myself.
It is a good one. And so you talked about you can make your own little projects. This might be a nice holiday project. If you have, like those college kids coming home, or your kids are out of school, and you want the help to get them outside, because our most of the time our winters are still mild or pleasant, or we have some of those really nice days like we're having today, where you can get outside comfortably. And it sounds like you might be able to make a little challenge on this iNaturalist app for your family to go out these trails and almost like a scavenger hunt maybe.
Right. And it's great for younger people too, because you do it on your phone, and let's face it, if you're not using your phone for something as a young adult, then well, God bless you, but most of us, we've got our phones with us all the time. So this is just one way to use the technology of an iPhone in order to go out and put it to a really good environmental use. We also, the city of Dallas participates every year in the City Challenge, which is an iNaturalist based, it's essentially a competition between cities across the United States to see who can get the most people out there, who can record the most observations. And it's just a fun, friendly challenge. But yeah, if you want to do that on a smaller scale and engage your family, your friends, your church group, your school, it's a great way to do that. And it's fun, you know.
Yes, it is. And, I think I might actually try that too, because after eating a bunch of Thanksgiving turkey and different things like that, it might be good to get outside
Yes.
and walk that off a little bit. And all right, so we're going to be wrapping up shortly, but I would also like you to, so could you, the videos kind of talked about Hines Park and stuff like that. Are there some other places that Groundwork has done improvements that you like recommend for us to visit? Like, what are some, like, I'm assuming Hines Park looked beautiful, in that video and stuff. So like, maybe if you could give us the top 3 places that we might want to visit. We have Hines Park and 2 more.
Fraser Recreation Area, that's another area, and it's very close to Hines Park. You've got Hines Park on one side of 35 and Fraser Dam Recreation Area on the other, Harry Hines Boulevard and I-35 right in there. Groundwork Dallas has worked in there for years and just done an amazing job. Cleaned up the waters. We've constructed trails, working on a kid's mountain bike trail. It's got some just amazing trails that go off through the woods, and you're walking along and you're looking around thinking, my goodness, I can't believe I'm just a few miles from downtown Dallas and surrounded by this much nature. And to watch the migratory birds, that's another reason why it's one of my favorite, is that we are right in the middle of the Central Flyway. And so it has water bodies around it that the migratory birds depend upon during their migrations. And it's just amazing what you can see out there. And, the eagles and the hawks and the shorebirds, and, it's just amazing. So I would say Fraser Dam Recreation Area is one of my favorite. I'd say Keast Park, and what we're going to be coming online soon with the LB Houston, I think is going to be really impressive and just open up a whole another area of opportunity. So I'll keep you posted on that one, but I think that one might inch up towards being one of my favorites.
Nice. And what's also nice is that, a lot of these are, like you said, part of the City of Dallas Parks and Recreation System. So there are websites and easy to find information. So if you're interested in visiting any of these places, I have a couple of links in the chat, and it's really easy just to, open up your browser and type in those places. And also nowadays, with all of the different types of things like TripAdvisor and stuff like that, a lot of these actually show up on those sites too. Right. So you can, almost anywhere can you find information about different trails and places to visit. And also we have just launched our feedback poll. It's just 3 simple questions. If you don't mind just answering those real quick for us, so it helps us develop our programming and improve our programming. We greatly appreciate it. And everybody, this is your last chance to ask Adam any last burning questions that you have about Groundwork or the trail systems we have. And while we're letting everyone fill out the poll, so Adam, what do you think so far is your favorite program that Groundwork has that you've worked on? You said you went to Glacier National Park. That might be pretty hard to beat that.
Yeah, that was definitely up there. But so I had mentioned earlier that we typically do conservation trips over winter break. This year we had to cancel our trip out to Big Bend Ranch State Park. due primarily to COVID concerns and restrictions, and it just wasn't going to be feasible for us to pull that off and still feel like we were keeping everybody safe and able to do the work. So instead, what I'm going to be doing for our Green Team youth over their winter break is I'm developing a series of day-long field trips. So there's some of those that I'm really looking forward to. One of the days we're going to travel down to Waco Mammoth National Monument, which I've never been to. And to be honest with you, I was not even familiar with that, and that they have a huge active dig area that they have uncovered just hundreds of mammoth remains and bones. So
Did you say this is in Waco, Texas?
yes, absolutely. So I'm excited about that. We're gonna take a day. We're gonna go to Dinosaur Valley State Park, which, to be honest, I have not been there since I was a toddler. So I'm looking forward to that. And then we're gonna spend the rest of the day at Fossil Rim Wildlife Center. There's also just north, one of the days we're gonna drive up to Hagerman Wildlife Refuge, which is up in Sherman, Texas, about an hour and a half or so north of us. So I've never been there. I'm really excited about that. Fort Worth Nature Center and Wildlife Refuge. So, it's kind of one of those things, again, this day and age with COVID, you got to bob and weave. And, I know everybody was probably looking forward to going out to Big Bend Ranch State Park, but I think we've got a lot of really fun backup plans that will be a lot more flexible for people's schedule.
That's awesome. All right, Adam. Catherine Trainer and Christopher Morris also want to thank you so much for the hard work that you're doing and the great work that you and Groundwork Dallas are doing. And so with that, I want to personally thank you for spending your time with us, sharing this good work, and giving all of these opportunities to our youth and also to us, because it comes back and it helps all of us. And with that, we're going to conclude today's program. Thank you all very much for joining us. If you would like that free thank you gift, remember to send your email, send an email to greendallas@dallascityhall.com. Include your name and mailing address so that we can get that to you. And also hopefully joining us on some future programming with the Dallas Public Library.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Adam. Thanks, Helen.